You're listening to the Misfit Therapist podcast with Dr. A, where it's all about talking through some messy psych shit so we can all get better soon. This show is not intended to diagnose or treat mental health disorders, nor is it a substitution for mental health services. Please seek counseling, medication, or crisis intervention services if needed.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good wherever you are. Hello, Misfits. This is episode 10. We are calling this Strange Spaces. We'll be discussing ways to cope during these challenging times. Thank you, COVID, the political climate, and the injustices that are staring us in the face. It's all weird, right? All of this. We were doing mostly fine, and all of this turmoil crept up in a very silent and powerful way. There is a lot that we didn't see coming. A tornado, a hurricane, shit, we see them coming. But how all of these things mentioned would affect us personally and professionally, we could have never imagined. COVID, politics, media, life is demanding so much of us right now. And some say, Dr. A, I feel fine. I don't feel stressed or negative or anything. Really? Because you just finished telling me that your sleep is shit, you feel sluggish, you're easily annoyed, you've been eating cookies for breakfast, and you feel a little off. You may not feel stressed or unwell, but check in with your body because it's telling a different story. Our lives seem oddly on hold right now. Should we visit loved ones who are compromised from a health perspective? Should we gather amongst friends for a connection and risk getting sick? When will I return to work, to school, kids to school? What will our country look like? The amount of uncertainty surrounding us is too much for so many. But I do want to say this. I know you may feel on pause, but we're not. We just feel like we are. We still have to move forward and implement good coping strategies for ourselves so that in the near future, we feel good about the space we're in. It's up to you, your choice on whether this is going to be a season of growth or a season of stagnation. I refuse the latter. If you think that what I'm saying is too much, too harsh, we're just trying to survive and you're talking about coping and making plans. Yes, because the harsh reality will be this, you looking back at an entire year and regretting the things that could have been that were in your control. So let's get into coping. How can we cope with the things that are happening around us? How do we get into a better space? Number one, routines. Routines and schedules are so important right now. By the way, people use those terms interchangeably. When I talk about routines, I'm talking about the things that you do naturally throughout your day that you like to do, and also include work and school and other responsibilities. And when I'm talking about schedules, I'm actually talking about time frames and planning out your routines throughout the day. Humans are wired for habit. We are neurologically built to support habits, and it's because of this that we may be feeling off or disoriented. We have lost our routines, or our routines schedules need readjusting. Our pre-COVID routines and schedules were so ingrained in us that to be working, going to school, or being forced to stay home in some capacity, it's a little odd. So it's incredibly important that given this new life, that we look at solidifying good daily routines and schedules. Let's talk about mornings. What time do you need to be up in order for your day to be productive and successful? Do you need to carve out additional time to pray, meditate, journal, or work out? Or will these activities be scheduled at another time? Meals, my God, your eating habits. What is eating going to look like? Do you have time to cook? When are you meal prepping? Is it an area of opportunity for you? Have you had sabotaging behaviors in this area? Many of my clients are in the fuck it, I don't care what I eat phase. Well, you should, and we need to take a look at this before it has long-term consequences. The rest of your day, think workday, chores, breaks, other responsibilities. All of these things need to be taken into consideration when building your routines and schedules. Are you over or underestimating time needed for each of these activities? Do adjustments need to be made? Also, have you made time for self care activities that restore and heal you? I want you to remember that things that are restorative in nature, entering spaces where you are fully present, that's what's important. Self care does not involve over shopping, overeating, overdoing anything because, again, those are not spaces where you are fully present. When we talk about self care, you need to be fully there and owning that moment. Your nighttime routines. How many hours of sleep do you actually need? What does your room look like before going to bed, a place of peace or chaos? Getting off social media and anything overstimulating is also important. Sit down and calendar out your week. This includes weekends and fun because if you don't plan it, it will not happen. What do you mean plan fun? Well, with most places operating at a reduced capacity and having rules during COVID times, planning fun is everything. Or you're just going to sitting there on Saturday and Sunday and looking at your weekend saying, one day seems to bleed into the next. Well, it doesn't have to. You do have some control over this. The next thing, fresh air. How much time are you spending outside? Find ways to insert the outside nature back into your life. Walks and hiking, they get you moving and get you outside. But if you're not in this headspace, do you feel comfortable enough to go sit outside at a restaurant or coffee shop? Can you meet a friend at a park and just catch up? Or keep it even more simple. Do you have a porch, balcony? Spend some time with yourself or loved ones in this space. The next thing with regard to coping during these times, limiting exposure to things that put you in a negative headspace. I get it. It's important to know what's happening, but obsessing over the information presented to you right now is proving to be detrimental. Hello, anxiety and depression. This is what I'd like you to do. Number 1, set up a time to check in with the news and a time limit. Number 2, this predetermined time that we're talking about, checking the news should be during a space where you are less likely to get upset, or when the news is less likely to disrupt your day or how you feel about your day. Number 3, following your checking of the news, practice an activity that will allow you to refocus on happiness, peace, or at least put you in a more neutral space. Can you meditate for a minute? Turn on the radio for a little bit? Can you text a friend a funny meme? Anything to bring you back to where you're supposed to be. Number 4, consider removing news notifications from your phone. There is zero need to be that connected throughout the day. Next up, with regard to coping, it involves saying hello to your inner homie. Yeah, your inner homie. Some people are homebodies and others are not, but even the homebodies need to rethink and refresh what being at home looks and feels like. You guys, I finally caved and I had to embrace my inner homie. And I've learned that it's not terrible. I'm an extrovert and someone who likes to be out, so this one was really hard for me. I was probably the first person at, you name it, restaurant, hair salon, nail shop. I was probably that person. First one knocking on that door when things opened up and safer at home orders got a little lighter. So how can we embrace the inner homie? Number 1, checking out podcasts. Don't stick to one subject, expand. Number 2, reading. Or are you more of an audible person? Do you like to listen to books? Can you listen while walking on the treadmill? Whoop, 2 for 1, we got exercise in there. Number 3, is there a hobby you can take up indoors? Creating a video, vlogging, editing. We all have something special to give. Should you showcase it from home during this time? Number 4, puzzles of any type, card or board games. I did not grow up like this. I grew up in a super Cuban family. I played outside and I ran home when the street lights started to flicker, so I find myself discovering board and card games through my son and playing those. We ordered a bunch from Amazon. It's been great. Number 5, is there a home project that will bring you joy? That junk drawer, closet cleaning. My rule is if you haven't worn it in a year, it's gone. It's got to go. I love when people say, well, when I lose weight, I'll wear it. No, you won't. You'll want something new. And don't hang on to shit that starts with when I lose 10 pounds, when I get that job, when COVID is over. No. Happiness is here. We have to create it. It's here and now, and we're not waiting for anything to be happy. Number 6, learning something new, a new language, new skill that will help you become an even better version of you. There's lots of online material out there that you could potentially tap into. The next thing with regard to coping, help others if you can. Number 1, volunteer in some way, acts of service. Deliver meals to homebound older adults through partnering with an organization. You can also volunteer to go grocery shopping or running errands for those that have a more difficult time, giving your new mom friend a break somehow. Missions, food banks, they desperately need volunteers more than ever. Our homelessness problem has not gone away. Number 4, donate blood if you see fit, if it's something you want to do. Other things, number 5, take meals to first responders. Check in with their organization for permission first, but I promise you, they appreciate it so much. And number 6, look for unique opportunities to volunteer from home. You can always go to volunteermatch.com. I was actually on there the other day and I found BeMyEyes.com. I found this pretty fascinating. From what I was able to gather, a low-sighted, low-vision individual signs on to the app, as do sighted volunteers. And when that person is having a hard time, maybe reading a label or trying to figure something out, the low vision person will go ahead and sign into the app, and then you on the other side as a volunteer is able to help them through that particular activity. So let's get creative when it comes to volunteering. But what if everything I've said isn't possible for you right now? What if your coping skills aren't where they need to be? Then your coping is simply going to be this: asking for help. Seek help if you need it. Connecting to others is huge during these times. Can you lean on a friend who is uplifting and a good listener? Don't forget to ask them how they're doing too. Check out support groups online for the things that you're struggling with, but big warning here, be mindful of those groups because they tend to get negative quickly, and we are not about that in our life. Number 3, if you're working for a company, an organization, they should have an EAP, Employee Assistance Program. Reach out, get yourself some free counseling. You know what? Let me have a soapbox moment. Shame on employers, and especially leaders. I was a leader for a really, really long time. Have you checked in on your staff? Do they even know that an EAP program exists? But Dr. A, I'm human too, and I'm going through stuff. I get it. But you're in a leadership position for a reason, and if you can't handle this, move over for someone else who can. All right, soapbox moment over. Thank you. Lastly, look at your own health plan for benefits. How much is your copay? Some are being waived right now, and you are more easily able to access therapeutic services. For those of you who are listening who may be uninsured, or maybe your copay is just too high and it is being charged right now and you're trying to figure out a way around that, please remember that there are sliding scale and low cost mental health services out there that you can access. Other things with regard to coping that I want you to be mindful of: triggers. Who or what is triggering you right now? Let's create space between you and them. Think about things that put you into a better headspace. What is that for you? Is it yoga, prayer, meditation, going on a run? Think about healthy distractors. And if you're in a dark place, and suicide has crossed your mind, please, please get yourself some help. Call the National Suicide Prevention Line, get some resources, reach out to friends, go to the nearest ED. You can also text the crisis line 24/7 at 741-741. Research tells us that crisis can have obviously long-term negative effects on children and adults' mental health and well-being. However, I want you to know something. Timely and appropriate support can help us to overcome challenges, learn how to better handle stress, and better rebound from dark times. There is always a call to action at the end of my episodes, so here it is. On your social media, I want you to post the National Suicide Number and Crisis text line. The post can be simple. It can just be "Are you in crisis? Reach out for help. You are loved." We're done, you guys. Thanks so much for listening and coming back week after week. I know that this week is particularly stressful for so many. It is election week, and there is so much that will happen today, Wednesday. It's a lot. Thank you for showing up for myself. Thank you for showing up for you. Please implement some of the coping strategies that we discussed today. And remember that although times are really tough, we are going to be okay. Continue to connect with me by going to themisfittherapist.com and on Facebook and Instagram. Till next time.
Thank you for listening to the Misfit Therapist podcast. Show some love by sharing this message and simply by living each day like a badass.